Put the Gujarat numbers out first. I see the Himachal numbers. Okay, why don't you take the Himachal numbers out? Why don't you take the Himachal numbers first up? Abhishek, you want to put the Himachal numbers out? Go
Yes, I think we're looking at those numbers. Yes, on the bottom of our screens, we are looking at Himachal. Now, Himachal, remember, is polling on the 12th. It's polling on the 12th.
Yeah.
We are just hours away from that big poll. And Himachal, Abhishek and Niranjan, is not a state that, actually garners a lot of attention. There is not too much of discourse about Himachal because people don't talk much about that state. But that state, I've been there in the last election. I do not know what will happen this time around, but people know very, very clearly what issues they are going to be voting on. The Prime Minister has been in Himachal earlier today. He has addressed back-to-back two rallies. On the bottom of your screens, according to the Republic P-Marq opinion poll, you're looking at the numbers. 68 seats in the Hill state. It has an upper range and a lower range, like they say, Pahadi or Maidani Ilaka. That's how they actually, Abhishek, break
and
that entire region.
As well.
Yes, a lot of apples. So, a lot of apple cultivators have issues this time. So, I think that will figure, and Animesh will take that story ahead. BJP 37 to 45, Niranjan, that's the range given out. Congress 22 to 28.
Majority. That's
a
clear majority, yeah.
And the Aam Aadmi Party, who many said kick-started, their campaign until Satendra Jain was arrested, put behind bars. We do not know whether that has made a calculated retreat, Abhishek. So, is this just about the BJP versus the Congress, Abhishek?
I think the Aam Aadmi Party has done an avol, which is like the entire focus shifting to Gujarat. So, I mean, just an example. Bhagwant Singh Mann happens to be Punjab Chief Minister, neighborhood state Himachal. He has been there only once. He has flown down to Gujarat 4 times. Last 5 days, at the peak of Himachal campaign, Arvind Kejriwal is actually campaigning in Gujarat. He has been carrying out road shows and rallies in much of Saurashtra and Kutch. So essentially that really gives you an idea of the focus the Aam Aadmi Party has over Gujarat, willing to sacrifice Himachal, and that's getting reflected in the numbers. Obviously then it becomes a straight fight, as it has always been, between the Congress and the BJP. Apart from the upper hills and the lower hills, Deepti, the apples and the oranges, the old and the new. Another difference this time in the elections is that the two stalwarts of the respective parties, Prem Kumar Dhumul, because obviously age and not being given ticket, and Veerbhadra Singh, because he's no more. Those stalwarts are missing. So the difference between, again, so many differences in Himachal, the difference between green cap and the maroon cap, all those things missing this time.
Yes, so, Niranjan, there is this vote percentage prediction. I think it's important to take that, and then we'll open it up with our entire panel of guests, Niranjan.
Yeah.
The BJP, according to the Republic P-Marq opinion poll, is expected to take a vote percentage of 45.2% with a seat prediction of 37 to 45. So will we see the state bucking the trend? Since the year 1985, if I'm not wrong, you haven't seen the state of Himachal repeating a government. Rivaz badalna hai, Abhishek and Niranjan, is something again and again that every BJP neta says on ground zero. Congress, with a vote percentage of 40.1%, is expected to take anywhere close to 22 to 28 seats. The Aam Aadmi Party here, though I do not know whether that is a serious contender or not, whether there is a buzz on the ground or not, it's just got to be a vote katuba. Does it, actually help any party or not? According to this survey, 5.2% is going to be its vote percentage, with close to just about 1 seat on, perhaps they won't be able to pick up.
Go by these numbers, Deepti. Aam Aadmi Party perhaps is doing an Uttarakhand on the Congress Party. So, like it happened in the case of Uttarakhand, again, a state which alternates between the parties at the hustings between Congress and the BJP. This time BJP came back to power, and in fact the BJP top brass is making Uttarakhand as an example in Himachal this campaign. Typically, about 6% votes were taken by the Aam Aadmi Party in the Uttarakhand election, and that really put paid to Congress Party's ambitions of coming back to power following that alternate mechanism. Similarly, this time it seems exactly the 5% vote share that the Congress is missing vis-a-vis the BJP is something that's going to be going with the Aam Aadmi Party. For more, perhaps Animesh can join in as to, because they followed the questionnaire on the ground, if that is also the feedback coming from the ground, Animesh.
So that's true, Abhishek. That's true. So let me set the broad context first. Himachal Pradesh in 2019, BJP had the highest vote share in North India. Higher than Gujarat, higher than Uttar Pradesh. It had a whopping 69% vote share in 2019. So just on the basis of that, probably 2022 election should be a foregone conclusion. But that is not. As Deepti mentioned, Himachal Pradesh has a track record of changing governments. The constituency size are quite small, with about 55,000 voters per constituency. And with the track record of changing governments, Congress has a fighting chance to win this election. But at the same time, as the numbers show, BJP is well ahead. So from 69% in 2019, it is falling to about 45% vote share in our polls as of now. But it is still, well placed to win the election. Now, a couple of key factors that are shaping up this particular election.
Because Abhishek drew that parallel of Uttarakhand and Himachal. There is a lot of difference if you look at the two states. Himachal is a state that does very well in the HDI indexes, the Human Development Indexes. The literacy there is pretty high. The voter there is very, very aware. The government jobs continue to be a major chunk of what people are engaged in. Out of the 55 lakh population here, the voter base, about 2.5 lakh, I think, Abhishek, is, the number that is in the government jobs.
Yeah.
And
that's a big issue.
This entire thing about the old pension scheme, the new pension scheme, Animesh, what really is something that you got a sense of before we take this to Zafar, to Sandeep, and to Pankaj also? Why don't you tell me what are the kind of questions that you actually did ask the voter? And do they believe that this is a government that has done enough when it comes to issues like the old pension scheme? Employment generation is very, very important. Though we've seen the one rank, one pension also rolled out by the government. What is working, what is not working? Animesh.
So just one small difference between Uttarakhand and Himachal, in terms of constituency size. So Uttarakhand is about 1.2 lakhs, 50,000 is what the average constituency voter size in Himachal. So in terms of personal connect, Himachal is much more so MLA candidate becomes much more important in Himachal versus Uttarakhand. Now coming to the second factor, old pension scheme, because they're the only Congress government in India, which is Rajasthan, they've implemented the old pension scheme. So there is some resonance. As you rightly mentioned, there are about 2.5 lakh government employees in Himachal, and that scheme is finding resonance, and therefore whatever vote share that that Congress is getting, despite the lack of presence of leadership like Rahul Gandhi, who has not held probably a single rally in Himachal, but because of these local issues, local factors, and certain issues like old pension, Congress is able to get a steady, significant vote share where it is able to compete against BJP. But in terms of work done, whether it's the ration scheme, whether it's in terms of roads, etc., these areas, the people are fairly happy with what the government has done, especially the central government. And the Modi factor, as I mentioned, 69% vote share in 2019, that continues to have a strong effect in this election as well.
Yeah, let's get in Pankaj as well. Let's get in Pankaj and Zafar. Zafar, see, there's a 4% fall in the vote share of the BJP now. Going by these numbers, even if you buck the trend, you're still losing 4% of your vote share in Himachal Pradesh. In the last election, 49.2%, projected at 45.2% this time around. And should the Congress actually be happy that Rahul Gandhi didn't go to Himachal Pradesh because he's doing Bharat Jodo Yatra? But imagine if Rahul Gandhi had gone to Himachal Pradesh. I don't know whether things would have been different. Should you be actually thanking Rahul Gandhi for not going to Himachal Pradesh?
Interesting point you made, Niranjan. Sorry for butting in, but this Bharat Jodo Yatra, which started from Kanyakumari, goes to Kashmir, exactly misses two states, Gujarat and Himachal, incidentally going to polls. I don't know who designed this route map for the Congress party.
Maybe that's why they're getting 40%, but let me get